You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates. Sarah Gulseth out today. Don't worry, she'll be back with us soon. Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting The Coffee Hour. Find out more about Concordia University, Wisconsin at cuw.edu. Live Uncommon. Joining me today, the Reverend Christian Tiews. He is serving the Lord in Germany. Looking forward to learning about how the Lord has given you to serve. Pastor Tiews, thanks so much for being our guest.
It's my pleasure, Andy. Great to be here.
So tell us about how the Lord has brought you to your service in Germany.
Well, it's actually a homecoming of sorts because I'm German American. I was born in Germany and spent half of my life in Germany and half of my life in the U.S. It's literally right down the middle. And to make it even more, maybe different, I did not hear the gospel until I was 40 years old. That was 24 years ago. Wow. And having grown up in Germany, which, as you know, is sadly a very post-Christian society, I literally didn't know any Christians. I'd never heard of. I mean, I've heard of them, but I didn't know any. I didn't know anything. I was baptized as an infant, then was dragged kicking and screaming into confirmation class at the age of 17, already a few years too late. And I did my best, quote unquote, to run away from Jesus until about the age of 40. And at that point, I had moved back to the States, and my wife and I, also German, by the way, walked into an LCMS church in Texas, and there I heard the gospel for the very first time. And it literally spoke to my heart because, as an unbeliever and as a non-Christian, I had caused much pain in the lives of people around me. And in the gospel proclamation that evening at that church, I heard for the very first time that Jesus Christ died because of your sins. The pastor said, Jesus Christ died for you and for your divorce, and he forgives you. And Jesus Christ died on the cross and forgives you for the fact that you walked away from your children, from your first marriage. And all of these things were true. And it blew me away. And there was actually an opportunity that evening to go down to the altar and pray with the pastor and thank Jesus for what he has done for us. And I wanted to go down. My wife did not want to go down, but she was gracious and she accompanied me down. And I knelt there, and the pastor placed his hands over me, and I bawled like a baby for 20 minutes. And this was at the age of 40. And we went home, and I said, what was that? I had no idea what that was. And I actually told a neighbor about this experience the next day. And she said she was, very taken by it. And she said, Chris, will this change your life? And I said, I don't have the slightest idea, but I know I've never experienced anything like that. So fast forward, my wife and I became very active in that church over time. After several years of teaching children's church, then they called me to serve as an elder. Then I served as a director of small groups at that church. We had about 1,100 people in small groups within a week or two. And so after about 7 or 8 years of that, one evening I called that same pastor and I said, listen, I'm thinking of maybe going to the seminary. Jesus has completely changed my life around, and I guess recently I had read Matthew 25, the parable of the talents, and I said I grew up in Germany. I have all kinds of skills the Lord has given me that would work very, very well for a pastor. And do you think I should go to the seminary? And he said, that is the best thing I've heard in a long time. Go, we will support you, we will help you, and do that. Serve the Lord in that way. So I did that, went to same place you are right now, St. Louis, and went to the seminary, was sent to Tulsa, Oklahoma. That was my first congregation there at Grace Lutheran, and served there. I've been a pastor now for 12 years, but I had always thought that I would like to return to my German fatherland and share the gospel with the people who are today still in the dark, just as I was for 40 years. And especially if you listen to the fact that 92% of Germans today, or I should say people living in Germany today, because there are many others besides Germans, 92% of the people living here in Germany do not have an active faith. That means at best they are C and E Christians. Christmas and Easter, they go twice a year at best. And many of them don't have anything to do with anything. And so I thought I always wanted to go back and basically go full circle and share the gospel with them. And last year, I contacted the Office of International Mission, also in that same building, International Center. And I said, listen, when I retire in, 3 or 4 years or so, I wouldn't mind going to Germany as a missionary, and I'd like to get the ball rolling now. And they said, Chris, we know you, we know who you are. That's a great thing, but don't wait 3 or 4 years. We need you now. We need you now. And so less than 9 months, I think, after contacting them, they gave me a call to go to Germany. And that's where I sit today.
And in what ways have you been given to serve in Germany? I mean, what a story. First of all, I should say that was quite a story leading up to where you've been given to serve. And certainly what a testimony to how the Lord uses his word to bring about change in our hearts and to bring you where he was giving you to serve. And so tell us more about the ways that you're given to serve there in Germany.
Yes, there are actually, I have several tasks here. My current task is I'm in Kaiserslautern, which is in southwestern Germany, and I'm serving as a vacancy pastor for Kaiserslautern Evangelical Lutheran Church, which is a church of almost all American military, right next to Ramstein Air Base, which is one of the largest U.S. Air Force air bases on the planet. And there are many other U.S. installations around here, Army as well. And so I'm serving this congregation here until the permanent pastor comes sometime in October. So, but while that is going on, my next assignment after this vacancy will be to do mission work with migrants from Iran and Afghanistan, migrants to Germany. And there are some 250,000 Persian-speaking migrants in Germany, and most of them are in Hamburg. So I will be sent to Hamburg as of October, and right now I am studying Persian, and it is an uphill battle, but the Lord is pushing me up the hill. And after German and Latin and Greek and Hebrew, Persian is giving me a run for my money, Andy. I will tell you. But it's all good. It's all good. So that is my second task. And then the third task, which is already very lively, I have been called to serve on the faculty of Riga Luther Academy, which is a Lutheran online seminary in Riga, Latvia. So in the northeastern Baltic region, one of the new Baltic states. And so I will head up the practical theology department, and come this winter, I will be teaching pastoral theology and possibly other classes as well, but I will oversee the entire practical theology. And actually this week, together with a colleague of mine, also from the seminary there, we have literally we're interviewing 10 prospective students that wish to attend Luther Academy, either as pastoral candidates or as deaconesses. And just today, I had two interviews. We had 2 interviews with 2 men from Eastern Africa, a man from Romania, a man from Turkey, and then a lady in San Diego, California, who might be interested in becoming a deaconess. Who knows? So it is highly international, but it is a wonderful, wonderful testimony just today. So we literally have people from so many different backgrounds, ethnicities, different regions on the planet, and it's a wonderful testimony that, according to John 3:16 and many other passages, God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son. So he didn't just love the Northern Europeans with those Lutherans or the North Americans or any of that. He loved people of every color and every stripe and every skin color. And I had a good smattering of those just today, talking to people of different skin colors in different regions, and all in love with Jesus and wanting to increase their knowledge of the Christian faith.
How would you say, with just about a minute before we go to break here, how would you say that your multicultural background has served you while serving in this multicultural setting?
Well, it's preordained. I mean, it's predestined. Having growing up in 2 cultures, literally holding 2 passports, being at home in 2 different countries, I can very much relate to people who are juggling several languages, and this is literally an international task, and the LCMS is doing an amazing job in supporting missionaries and seminaries literally all over the planet, and bringing the love of Christ to so many in the process.
We're learning more about the Lord's work in Germany from the Reverend Dr. Christian Tiews, who serves there as an international worker. We have more to learn about from Pastor Tiews in just a moment. You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
You're a miracle. You know that, right? A living, breathing, one-of-a-kind miracle. You were created to stand apart, to share your gifts in the service of others, to make an uncommon impact in a common world. And at Concordia University, it's our mission to help you do that, to live uncommon. To learn more about Concordia, go to cuw.edu.
Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates. Sarah Gulseth is away today. We are going international. Today we're talking with Reverend Dr. Christian Tiews, serving the Lord in Germany. Dr. Tiews, you shared with us your background and how the Lord has brought you to serve in Germany, and just the very multicultural aspect of the ways that you're given to serve and the people you serve there. How have the challenges of the past year, particularly with the pandemic, what kinds of challenges have they presented for you and those you serve alongside with in international mission there?
Well, there are several common themes. We've all been afflicted by the pandemic, and I'm afraid that church attendance has gone down across the globe. The good news is that we have taken some of our divine, or I should say our church activities, to the internet. The bad news is that we have taken some of our church activities to the internet, because the good thing is we're able to reach shut-ins and those who have not been able to go church in recent years, and so they have access. They can watch our services on the phone and so on. The bad news is that it seems that some people have become so accustomed to virtual church that it would seem, don't feel the desire to literally go into a building anymore because it's so convenient to do at home. Of course, as Lutherans, which distinguishes us from many other denominations, is that we have the sacraments. We have baptism and we have the Lord's Supper. And you obviously can't take the Lord's Supper over Zoom or on Facebook Live. So the people by default would actually have to come to church to receive the sacrament, which they need because that is charging their spiritual battery. But it's some of them, at least, are, I guess, still gripped with fear that they've even though so many people, especially in the United States, are already vaccinated, that they feel that they still cannot cross that threshold, and because they might infect themselves in church, even though they might infect themselves at Walmart too. And so fear is gripping some of our people and is keeping them away from the house of the Lord, where we all need to be every week.
Have you found there to be blessings that have come out of these challenges? How are the ways that you've been able to, how have you seen the Lord providing in the midst of these challenges?
Well, as I said, it's kind of a double-edged sword with the internet. One obvious huge benefit is just the fact that we were able to interview 5 different people on 3 different continents today over Zoom. So 2 years ago, a year ago, I didn't, or a year and a half ago, I didn't know about Zoom, and I guess many people didn't either. So we would have done it over the phone or something. But so we're able to reach out to people in 2-dimensionally and have good conversations over Zoom and similar media. But the thing is, Andy, we are incarnational people. We are made to be physical. That is why the Lord gives us His gospel in water and bread and wine, and we need to be in the place where these gifts are dispensed. And if we retreat to a 2-dimensional screen, we are not taking full advantage of all the gifts that the Lord wants us to have, and that's very sad. So it's a double-edged sword, but the Lord is always with us. He promises us at the end of Matthew 28. He says, "I will be with you always, even unto the end of the age." And so He is with us even during these difficult times. And we know that the word of the Lord endures. The word of the Lord will never die. It will always go on. But for this or that congregation, times are tough right now because people are not supporting their churches physically, maybe even not even with their financial gifts the way they did before the pandemic.
How can we learn about the Lord's work? You shared that there are 3 ways that you've been given to serve in Germany. How can we learn about all these different ways and continue to stay on top of the ways that God has given you to serve at Luther Academy and the congregation and whatever future things might be happening for the Tiews family?
Yes, well, the LCMS is very active. All you have to do is go to the LCMS website, lcms.org, and international mission work is one of the tabs that you can choose. And right now we have, I think, like 106 missionary families, American missionary families, deployed all around the globe. It's a very well done website. You can look at the regions, you can look at the names, they have pictures, they have bios, you can support the people. So you can find out about the various activities that the LCMS is doing worldwide, because, and I can see this as I'm talking with all these different Lutherans in different nations, the LCMS is so generous, and the people of the LCMS are so generous, and we're experiencing this ourselves as the Tiews family. We are receiving love and outpouring of generosity from people all across America. Before we left here, like all missionaries, we had to do, we did presentations in many states, and the outpouring of love of the people who were excited about those who would go out to share the gospel was absolutely huge, absolutely brilliant. And so we can be very grateful that we have such generous people in the LCMS and around America that really appreciate the fact that the word needs to be shared around the world, and the U.S. and the LCMS are very, very actively and energetically doing this. So as far as some of the challenges for us as a family, I can think of two challenges right now. One, right now I am physically separated from my family. They're in a different part of Germany, because I am, I guess I'm kind of going to be sort of like a traveling Wilbury here. I was in Latvia a few weeks ago to visit the seminary. I'm going all over Germany. We work closely, or I work closely with our sister church in Germany, the SELK, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of Germany. And I was in North Germany a few weeks ago and preached and taught and so on at 3 different churches one weekend. So I'm traveling a lot. And so in order to provide stability for particularly our youngest child who is with us, she's 15 years old, that is why my wife and Lula and our daughter, they are living with my in-laws. So that provides a center of stability for her. So that's the physical separation. That is, that's a little bit of a cross that we all have to bear now. But the other one is that Lillian, our daughter, she will start going to a German school this fall, and they not only require 1 foreign language, but 2 foreign languages. And that is quite a burden, and an uphill battle for her as well to climb. And so I would ask that you would pray for our family, especially for Lillian, because switching from first homeschooling in the States and then a Christian school to a German school with 2 foreign languages, that is going to be difficult. And she needs all our help in our prayers.
Anything else that you'd like for us to know about the Lord's work in Germany as we wrap up our time together today?
Yes, well, it is quite ironic that the region that rediscovered the gospel, Saxony, the region that sent C.F.W. Walther and those Saxons to the United States going on 200 years ago, that region, Eastern Germany today, is the second most atheist region on the planet after North Korea. So Eastern Germany is it's almost devoid of Christianity. There are a few here and there, and a few very, very small faithful churches, but by and large, it's gone. I have talked to people in Eastern Germany that walked into a church, saw a crucifix, and they literally said, "What is that gymnast doing hanging on the bars there at the front of the church?" No idea whatsoever. So Western Germany is not quite as bad, but it is still, again, a very post-Christian society. So let us continue to pray for Germany and support the missionaries working here, because the land that rediscovered the gospel over 500 years ago is now in desperate need of the gospel. And that is why my colleagues and I, we are here, and supported by the LCMS and by others around the world, that we can do our what we can, the little bit we can do as humans, to share the gospel with people who need it so desperately, as we all do, and who are at this time at least just as lost as I was up to the age of 40.
Thanks be to God for you and for the Lord's work in Germany. Our guest today, the Reverend Dr. Christian Tiews, serving the Lord in Germany. Thank you so much for being my guest on the Coffee Hour today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much, Andy.
You've been listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.